Hello, my name is Zuri Redmond, and I am the president of the Black Student Union for the 2020-2021 school year. I am here to introduce Dr. Welsh, who has been our president for a while now, and it will be a sad sight to see her go, but I am excited to welcome in our new president, Ken Long.
Hi, Zuri. Good to be with you today.
Good morning. I'm Ken Long. I'm incoming interim president following Dr. Welsh upon her departure, retirement in the July.
So today I want to focus on the current climate that our country is in, both politically and racially. Racist political agendas, systemic racism that plagues this country is something that we have been seeing all too much and something that we shouldn't be seeing in 2020 at all. So I would like to give them a spotlight so that they can share their opinions on what is going on.
Thank you, Zuri. Ken and I were talking the other day about the fact that we come from such different backgrounds, but have come to the same place as far as what we really want for ESU students. So I grew up in Hitchcock County, Nebraska. There were maybe, I would say, 2,500 people in our county. They were all Northern European. There was zero diversity. And so he comes from a totally different background. And we've talked about where you get this racism stuff. I didn't grow up in a racist environment at all. We didn't learn it. We didn't learn hate. We really learned that everybody matters. And so it was a very different upbringing for me than I think in a lot of the parts of our country. I firmly believe that racism and hatred are learned. They aren't something you're born with.
And Ken Long, I was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey, opposite of Dr. Welsh, one of the more diverse cities in the country then and now. And so I grew up with a very close relationship with Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, and a very, very diverse population. But even in that environment, a diverse place like Jersey City, I experienced racism, discrimination throughout my life as a Black male, experiencing opportunities that affect my thinking of racism, discrimination, that actually, I think, made me a better person in understanding what others are going through, because I live it, and Dr. Welsh and I speak about these things on a regular basis. It's different being a Black male in America. You do experience it. And, Zuri, I don't know if you remember me much, but, I'm 6'4", 260 pounds. So I'm a big Black male. And when I see things that happen in the media, I relate to it immediately, because most of the time it's been a very large, darker complexion Black male. So I can relate closely with some of the incidents that have happened over the past, I'm not going to say just in recent time, but over my lifetime.
I also think, if I may, the other area, I grew up where if I was stopped by the police for speeding or doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, my response was very different than I know Ken's would have been. First of all, we had one police officer in our town, and he owed my dad money. We were working class people, but even working class people borrow money. He owed my dad money, and so whenever I was stopped by the police, I got this, you better behave. No one ever pulled a gun on me. If I was stopped by police, other than our local cop, my response was to cry. I was supposed to cry. Then I wouldn't get a ticket and I wouldn't be treated poorly. So my response is because of my background. And it breaks my heart to think that anyone would be treated any differently. It's something that I just can't comprehend.
Interesting when Dr. Welsh and I talked about that as well. It's very different for a black male. I've been pulled over, not a ton of times, but I've been pulled over, and the last thing I'm thinking about is getting a ticket. The thing you're thinking about is how to stay safe. Having a lot of law enforcement friends, and growing up as a black male, my uncles raised me to know what to do. Every one of my friends that is black and Hispanic, we know what to do when we get pulled over. We're not thinking about a ticket, that's secondary. We're thinking about how do you keep yourself safe. So we turn on the dome lights, we turn off the engine, we put our hands at a 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock position. I mean, those are just instinctive things that we do because you're trying to say, how do you make yourself safe as possible so you can go home? A ticket is the least thing that you're worried about at that time.
In this transition, what are the conversations that both of you are having, that will allow you guys to say, okay, this is what the student body wants, this is what they have wanted for a while, and this is how we're going to give it to them?
I don't think our conversations have changed. I think that we both want the same thing for ESU. We both want a very diverse faculty and staff. We've wanted a diverse student body. We have a diverse student body. But now how to get the faculty and staff diversified in a way to truly serve our students. When I was a kid, we didn't have women faculty, and I always wanted females to be teaching me, and I wanted more people that looked like me. And I would expect our students to want the exact same. And I know we've done a lot in the past couple of years to increase the diversity on our campus in that respect, but we have a long way to go. And so that's a priority. And we want to be able on our campus to have healthy conversations, not just about racism, but about sexism, about gender preference. And I think that our campus feels, for the most part, very welcoming. It breaks my heart when I hear somebody said, I don't feel welcomed, or I don't feel like I'm a warrior, because we've tried so hard. And so I don't think our conversations really have changed. It's just, how do we continue the momentum we have to continue to make ESU a better place?
And for me, I echo what Dr. Welsh said, and I just would add to it that I think diversity is extremely important to any modern institution, whether it's higher education, whether it's a business. If you lack diversity, not just diversity in skin color, but diversity in mind, diversity in accepting others. A little bit more about myself. My wife is Puerto Rican, so I have, I always say I'm 100% black, 100% Puerto Rican. So I got it from both sides, and we talk about things like that. But one of the things that resonates with me when I think about our students is a conversation I had with one of my daughters. My younger daughter, 2 years ago, came home from school, and she was so excited. And I got in the house, and she said, Dad, I got to tell you a story. And I said, what? She said, I had my first teacher that looks like me. Now, my daughter's black. She's a little lighter than me, but she's still clearly black. And it was the first time she had a black teacher. It was a substitute teacher. Actually, it was a student teacher, and she was an ESU student. So it made me even more proud. And to see the way my daughter lit up as a third grader, again, she didn't have a long lifespan in school, but just going 3 years in school and then having her first black teacher made her feel proud, made her feel accepted. And that sticks with me when I think about our students going into classrooms and recognizing that there's no one in the class that may look like them, or there's not a professor in any of their classes that look like them. It means something whether you are, 11, 10-year-old girl, or whether you are 18, 19-year-old man. That's important for all of us.
And the last question that I would want to leave you with is a question, but more of a charge for both of you. What charge do you have for our police officers to make sure that they are not, ganging up on our students and making our students intimidated because of their badges? And so I just want to know, as president, is that a number one concern that you have to make all students of color feel safe? Or is it more in the faculty? Do you think it'll change if you change the faculty?
So starting with me, I think that first of all, I've never been quiet. I've always been pretty much an activist in my own way. And I've recently, as I was packing up stuff in my office, I found the front page of a newspaper where I was very outspoken on equal pay and equal treatment of women. But now with what's going on now and going into a political year where I think things are only going to get worse as we become less tolerant of one another, I think my job in my community is to be a voice of reason and to continue to demand equal and fair treatment of all. I would certainly, the things that have been going on and the way that certain police, and I think it's important to note it's not all police. I'm very proud of the ESU Police Department. That doesn't mean they sometimes make mistakes or do things because they really don't understand. So that has to be part of what we address at ESU. But in the community, I think that we all need to have very strong voices on what we will and will not tolerate when it comes to treatment of other human beings.
And for me, I appreciate the question, Zuri. You know, just a week ago, I had a conversation with the police department, and police department at ESU does report through my division, so I get to have conversations with them on a regular basis. And in that conversation a week ago, I spoke to several officers, and I said, racism has no place at ESU. It doesn't help you, it doesn't help me, it doesn't help ESU. And if anyone is racist or discriminates, whether it's against gender, whether it's against race, whether it's against sexuality, it's no place for it at ESU. And I invited all of the officers in that meeting to join me in making sure we call out anyone that harbors those feelings or thoughts, because most of our officers have the same directive, same drive that I have. And if there's an officer that does not have that, that makes all of us look bad, including me. So I charged them, and they agreed that we will single out any individual and call them out. And they want me to bring it to their attention, those officers, because they don't want someone with those feelings impacting them. But I also do think it needs to be in the classroom as well. I think we need to pay attention to some issues in the classroom, because we bring up the police, but we need to be careful that we don't forget the other areas where racism does hurt our students. And we need to make sure we identify those. And I will say on the record right now that if you're racist, you're sexist, if you want to discriminate, ESU is not the place for you. Find someplace else to go, because ESU is not for you.
I echo what he says 100%. You don't belong here if you can't accept others.
Well, I would like to thank the soon-to-be former president, Dr. Welsh, and I would like to thank our incoming president, Ken Long, for doing this meeting with me and talking to the students about the conversations we should be having on campus and the actions that we need to make every single student feel like their life matters while they are at ESU, even if other places don't make them feel that way. I would also like to thank each and every individual who took the time out to watch this entire video. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I charge you with action to make everyone in your community feel as though they belong, regardless of their race, sexual identity, sexual orientation, etc. Thank you.